valuable experience. Yes, the academics were comprehensive, the coursework was applicable and valuable, but it was the people within the program that made this program the best that I have ever been a part of. When I was asked to speak tonight, I was truly honored, but also very tempted to say no. I'm not the most articulate, most confident, or the most intelligent person graduating today. However, I am on a journey where I am saying yes to all the new opportunities that come my way. So here we are. And to be honest, when I found out that I would be addressing you from a digital window here, that just felt a little bit more my speed. As it turns out, I'm a bit more comfortable speaking in digital form. And also, it just feels right after communicating with each other from our tiny little Teams windows over the past few years. Am I right? If you would have told me a few years ago that in addition to a career pivot and another master's degree, I would also unintentionally stumble upon TikTok fame, I would have laughed at you as none of this was on my life after 40 bingo card. And let's be clear, going back to school while also learning a brand new job is not the most convenient thing when life is in full swing, which for me includes 5 kids, 2 of whom are also in college and another that's about to be. So that might not have been the most financially responsible decision to make at that time. However, major life events and consequently some shifts in perspective can create change, and these things were the impetus for the most recent chapters in my story. I need to back up for a minute though and properly set the stage because it's very important when it comes to telling my story. I'm in the middle part of my story, I hope, and this middle part starts the way a lot of fairy tales do. The parents die. Okay, that took a turn. Just stay with me here. Stay with me. In almost every classic fairy tale, we start with at least one parent gone, right? First fairy tale that comes to mind. Go ahead and think of one. Where are the parents? Now, as someone that has experienced this in real life, I get this literary decision. This absence creates a turning point, a vulnerability. The loss creates a path. In fairy tales, losing a parent is often the catalyst in the protagonist's story. It's the moment the character steps into the unknown, discovers who they are, and more deliberately builds a life they choose. For me, this profound loss in a very short period of time had me considering my story and the things I wanted to do in my time. I needed to live more intentionally. I was pushed to move outside of my comfort zone, to change what had been my norm for 20 years, to try something I had felt called to do, but constantly found all the reasons not to, essentially to start saying yes. I applied to UNCG, was accepted, and then immediately interviewed for the middle school librarian position I am currently in. Things were moving quickly, and I felt unprepared to step into a library position, only knowing about the job based on what I had seen from the teacher's point of view. The summer before moving from the classroom to the library, in true librarian fashion, I felt I needed to research what was happening in school libraries. And that's how I landed on the library side of TikTok, once my teenagers helped me get there. Everything that has happened since that moment 2.5 years ago, where I started to document my journey as a new librarian on social media, has been a whirlwind. I went from a consumer of content to a creator of content. One minute I was showing how to repair a book that was read quite literally in half, to having built a global platform and a community within the first year. Most importantly, I found myself in a unique position to be able to educate and advocate for libraries. I speak to an audience that varies greatly from people that haven't been in a library since school required them to be, those that frequent their library often, and everyone in between. Some actually comment that they don't know how they found themselves on the library side of TikTok, but they say they're staying. Being on the library side of social media might be the first step, but getting them into and supporting actual libraries is the goal. I have been able to teach about our profession, the value to society that libraries provide, and ultimately to support libraries, use them, defend them. In a time when libraries and equitable access to information is in danger, we need libraries and the access to ideas, community resources, and safe spaces they provide more now than ever before. We all need we need all of the stories and voices represented in our libraries. The stories that to some readers are affirming and to others are enlightening. We need diverse, representative, and authentic voices throughout our collections. We need to provide what it takes to develop empathy through books now more than ever. In a profession that is stereotypically synonymous with silence, we need to counteract that stereotype and make our voices loud. We need to protect our patrons' right to read anything and everything they desire. We need to ensure equitable access to all books. We need to continue to spread the message that libraries are and should continue to be for everyone. An equitable and inclusive institution that exists to empower everyone who uses it. In a time when libraries and librarians are not always seen as essential, we need to be the persistent reminder that libraries are the foundation for knowledge. There is nothing more essential to intellectual freedom than a library. We are out in the trenches combating misinformation, fostering innovation, connecting people with the resources they need, and supporting our communities in the process. In a profession where our impact is often invisible, we have to make it undeniable. As a librarian, you are an influencer. You don't have to be TikTok famous for your voice to matter and for you to make an impact in your space and in your community. Influence is using whatever platform you have to impact others. You are doing this. You are exactly the person your community needs to advocate for libraries and in turn for the patrons. We work in a profession surrounded by stories, but at the same time, we are all authors of our own. How you choose to write it and how you show up as a character in other people's stories matters. We are all starting the next chapter today. How are you going to write it? It's never too late for a plot twist, an edit, or some fun bonus content. May you use your voice boldly because somewhere out there is a person who needs exactly what you can give. Live fully, learn fiercely, and never underestimate the power of a library card and a good story. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. That was amazing. Y'all, those of us that haven't met, my name is Dr. Joanna DePolt, and it is my distinct pleasure to introduce our next student guest speaker, Elizabeth Micah. So, Elizabeth, I warned you in 600 you'd see me again at the end, and here I am. So Elizabeth has over 25 years of public library experience in her home state of Illinois. She is in her third year as the head of youth services at Des Plaines Public Library, and prior to this position, she served as the youth services program coordinator for over 6 years in the same library. She lives with her husband and 4 guinea pigs in the suburbs of Chicago, where she enjoys gardening, baking vegan treats. And see, this is one of the drawbacks to distance learning. I've never been able to beg a vegan treat from Elizabeth. And can't wait to get back to her to-be-read pile now that she's done with library school. So Elizabeth, thank you for being one of our guest speakers.
Thank you. All right. Good evening to my fellow graduates, esteemed professors, and everyone celebrating with us today. It is such an honor to be speaking at this event. I appreciate the chance to say thank you to the professors that have given me so much to think about and learn on this journey, and to my classmates for being so much fun to learn alongside. Getting to the point of earning my MLIS has taken many years, a few false starts, and no lack of determination. But the path to and through this program at UNCG has left me with knowledge and experiences that will continue to enrich my personal and professional life at every turn. A little background on me: as you heard in Joe's introduction, I have over 25 years of experience at public libraries in my home state of Illinois. I started in the smallest of small town libraries to help with a cataloging project. They literally didn't even have a schedule for me. I just went in there when I had time to work on some of that. It was the first system they automated on. It was called Athena, and it was horrible. And I worked on that for many years, and then I went to some other libraries, and now I am the head of youth services at Des Plaines Public Library, serving a diverse suburban community of around 62,000 people. As I was being accepted into UNCG's grad program for fall of 2023, there were some changes at the library I'd been a youth services assistant at for about 6 years, and the head of youth services position opened. Not knowing what the competition for the position would be, I took a chance and applied for it. I was not qualified on paper. I didn't have what I've earned today, my MLIS, but I had a lot of experience. I had my colleagues behind me saying, you know, you really do show the leadership that we need. And I had shown some great potential for keeping it together during the pandemic. So I decided to take my determination to guide the team with grace, humanity, and a sense of humor, and maybe with a little bit too much confidence, turned in that application, and you know, hat in the ring. Let's see what happens. To my shock and delight, our executive director, Joe Bonell, sat with me, asked me some hard questions. She told me that this would change every relationship I had with my coworkers, and that I would find out quickly who in our library was a bit of a pain in the butt. Undaunted, I listened to Joe's advice. Her mentorship was always an invaluable resource, and I signed that employment agreement that gave me 3 years to finish my grad degree. Joe was a second career librarian herself. She assured me that the reason she gave me 3 years was because she felt like 2 was asking a bit much of someone who was becoming a full-time library manager. And she wanted to assure both of us that I would have plenty of time to finish because she was planning to retire very soon. I finished in 2.5 years. Joe retired last year after going on a medical leave, and we lost her to cancer this past fall. Hold your mentors close. Thank them for the wisdom, guidance, and listening ears they provide. They are so important, and you will miss them when they aren't an email or phone call away or a few offices down anymore. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. Right now, we are in a challenging time for libraries. As a profession, librarianship feels under attack, with every book ban trying to control our collections, every protest outside of a diverse public library program, complaints about the displays that just create visibility for the marginalized, librarians being referred to as groomers and perverts, a political landscape that seems to want to hide the truth tellers and archivers of historical facts, not to mention the fight for fair funding that goes on and on. But that minority of people who are talking the loudest and saying the most divisive, hurtful things are incapable of understanding what they are doing with their hatred and exclusion, with their fears of us as the keepers of history, information literacy, and stories that reflect the wide spectrum of humanity. They highlight the insurmountable fact that libraries have known forever. Our communities need us. The toddlers at story time need to see characters in the books being held up to them as windows, doors, and mirrors, sharing stories of people as beautiful and diverse as they are. The tweens exploring who they are becoming need to know we are a safe space to ask questions and find books that light the fires of imagination and humanity in their souls. The teens that can't talk to their family about gender identity, sexuality, or mental health need us to discreetly point to resources that help them find their sense of belonging in a world that is often bent on being cruel to those that challenge societal norms. The unhoused need somewhere comfortable to spend time, a safe space with caring staff that can point them in the direction of a social worker or shelter, a place that treats them with the same dignity as everyone else coming through the doors. The aging members of our communities need our listening ears, homebound deliveries, meeting spaces, and technology assistance. So, how do we remind ourselves that the needs of our community outshine and will outlast those that want to shutter us, misunderstand our mission, and refuse to listen? We must hold tight to the basic policies of the ALA Bill of Rights, focusing on intellectual freedom, the right to read, a right to privacy and confidentiality, and the basic tenet that libraries are for everyone. We didn't choose librarianship because it would be easy and we'd get to read all day. Each of us came here with different reasons that will shine beautifully in this profession. But one thing stands true about each and every librarian. We are all badasses. We are all awesome. And I am honored to call you colleagues as we stand strong in the protection of intellectual freedom and bringing our communities the resources they need. I'd like to close out my speech with a quote from fellow Youth Services librarian Michael Threets, who spreads joy and recognition to libraries on a regular basis via social media, PBS, and now is the host of Reading Rainbow. At South by Southwest Edu 2025, he spoke with PBS Kids Senior Vice President Sarah DeWitt. Michael said something that should inspire us all to carry on and be strong in the belief that we will bring great things to the people that need us. Because libraries, as much as we're a house of books, we're the house of community. We're the community hub. We're trying to provide resources so that you can flourish together, because that's what the library represents. It's togetherness, end quote. Once again, it has been an honor to speak tonight, and congratulations to all of my fellow graduates. We did it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for those inspiring words. I agree, we are all badasses, so let that be the mantra for tonight. And now I'm thrilled to introduce another badass, our alumni guest speaker, Patrick Cash, who I think took every archives class I taught while he was completing his MLIS degree. So uh, I'm familiar with Patrick and was very excited that he agreed to speak to us tonight. So let me get into his bio. Patrick Cash is the manuscripts curator at East Carolina University's Special Collections, where he works to preserve and share the history found within the East Carolina Manuscript Collection. Prior to this, he served as the assistant university archivist at ECU and the associate archivist public history program coordinator at Mars Hill University. He earned his Master of Library and Information Science from UNC Greensboro and a Master of Arts in History from East Tennessee State University. Currently, Patrick serves as the president of the Society of North Carolina Archivists. Throughout his career as an archivist, instructor, and museum curator, Patrick has been guided by a passion for connecting people with the past, whether through exhibitions, research support, or engaging public programs. His work focuses on expanding access to archival collections and fostering collaboration between universities and the communities they serve. Take it away, Patrick.
Thank you for that introduction, Dr. Post. And to the faculty, families, and friends in attendance, it is a privilege to join you virtually in celebrating these students and their milestones. Thank you for the honor and invitation to speak with you today. Even in this digital space, the significance of this moment is unmistakable. To the graduates, you have demonstrated discipline, resilience, and intellectual curiosity, and it is a privilege to welcome you into the library profession as colleagues and to the UNCG alumni family. As I reflect on this graduating class, I do not simply see students completing a degree. I see professionals who will help shape how their communities access knowledge, preserve memories, foster student confidence, and maintain the trustworthiness of information. Whether you are heading toward archives, school libraries, public libraries, or a hybrid path you have yet to define, the promise and potential you bring to our field is undeniable. You are joining a profession that is often quiet in its work, yet foundational in its impact, and your insight and leadership are genuinely needed during this time. I want to speak candidly about what it means to begin a career in the information professions today. When I began my own work as an archivist over a decade ago, I believed that memory mattered and that communities deserved reliable spaces to encounter information. Over time, that belief has only strengthened as I have witnessed the trust that individuals and communities place in us. The trust to preserve information, maintain evidence, and care for records that reveal how people lived and imagined their own futures. That trust is reflected across every sector of our profession. A school librarian helping a student discover a life-changing book. A public librarian guiding someone through their first online job application. Or a digital librarian building tools that expand access beyond any physical building. It is these actions that shape how people understand themselves and the world around them. As we know, this profession is often described as evolving, but it is fundamentally about balancing continuity with change. You will encounter shifting technologies, limited budgets, changing user expectations, and the persistent challenge of upholding integrity of information. These challenges underscore the importance of our work. Across every specialization, we serve as connectors, facilitators, guides, and caretakers during a time when reliable information and shared understanding are vital. Much of our work unfolds in quiet acts with lasting consequences. A researcher who locates a document they feared was lost. A community member who finds essential information that they needed. Or a child who discovers a love for reading that opens up the door to their future. These moments will rarely receive public recognition, yet their impact will endure long beyond all of our careers. As you enter this evolving field and find yourself whether designing accessible programs, coordinating metadata, safeguarding community archives, managing digital systems, or supporting lifelong learning through the building of inclusive spaces, remember the stakes of your work. Classification carries social meaning. Access is a matter of equity, and open information is foundational to civic life, and preserving history is a responsibility, not a nostalgic act. These strengths position you to help shape a more informed, inclusive, and resilient future. As you now take the next step in your professional journey, allow me to offer several pieces of advice drawn from my own professional missteps and the collective wisdom of the mentors and colleagues who have helped shape my own career. First, prioritize your relationships. Some of the most significant breakthroughs in my work emerged not from solitary effort into closed stacks with some dusty documents, but from collaboration. Collaboration with public librarians, collaboration with information specialists, with academic faculty members, with community organizers, with catalogers, with technologists, and yes, with fellow archivists. This profession is interconnected. Whether you work in a large system or a small one, relationships will determine what becomes possible for you. Second, respect and assert your expertise. Whether you are designing public program, as I mentioned, or defending collection integrity, or advocating for ethical AI use, or supporting the needs to preserve a fragile manuscript, your judgment, your opinions, and your expertise matters. There will be moments when you are called upon to articulate why certain decisions are important and why certain actions are needed. Do not shy away from these opportunities. Stand up for yourself and for the profession. Third, cultivate your professional creativity. Innovation in our field does not always take the form of grand initiatives. It may appear in a redesigned instructional session, a creative outreach program, or more intuitive metadata protocol, a digitization workflow improvement, or a public program that helps people see history differently. Creativity is central to our mission. Finally, remain grounded in the reasons you chose this work. Across all specializations, we share a belief that knowledge matters and that people deserve access to it, and that libraries and archives play a vital role in a democratic society. That belief will sustain you through complex workloads and institutional change, and will remind you why this work matters. Years from now, someone will encounter a book, a data set, an archival record, a program, a lesson plan, a LibGuide, or a digital object that you made accessible. They will learn, they will understand, and they will discover something because of your work. They may never know your name, but you will have shaped their experience and their own personal history. That is a profound responsibility and a profound privilege that spans every corner of our profession. So as you prepare to take the next steps in your professional journey, I want to leave you with a reminder that I have taped to my office wall for those times when the workday becomes long and I need a reminder of why I'm here. As acclaimed author and one of my personal favorite authors, Ray Bradbury wrote, "Without libraries, what have we? We have no past and no future." So please remember, no matter the setting where you serve, it is up to you to help write the future while safeguarding the past. That responsibility is profound, and you are ready to meet it. Today is not only a celebration of your achievements, but a recognition of your readiness to contribute to a field built on service, trust, and care. You are entering roles that require intellectual rigor, ethical commitment, and deep respect for the communities you serve. Whether you find yourself in a reading room, a public desk, a classroom, or a children's area full of toys, your work will matter, and it will matter deeply. I am proud and honored to welcome you all as colleagues, collaborators, and professional peers. Congratulations, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Patrick, for your wonderful words to all of our graduating students. It is my honor and privilege to announce the names of those who will be graduating. That's me. I'm Heather Moorfield-Lang. I'm going to be presenting the MSITD, our instructional design, as well as our MLIS students who will be graduating. I will pause after each name. If you want to turn on a camera or celebrate or turn on some sound and volume, you're welcome to do all of those things. I pause briefly. I will do my best with everyone's names. There's a few I've tried to check that I am hoping the best for. I don't want to make mistakes to the best of my ability. Okay, so here we go. From our MSITD program, first we have Hala Muhammad Alafi. Next we have Jasmine Lynette Foy. We also have our instructional design certificate folks. We have instructional design certificate Kimberly Cooney, as well as Chad Holland Phillips. And with our MLIS and certificate certification, we have Race Brandon Finnegan, Aaron Watson, Katarina Wibbins, Andrea Nicole Wood, and Beatrice Christine Ray. Congratulations to you all. Next, we have our MLIS graduates. And again, please feel free to applaud, make noise, take your sound off mute, whatever you would like to do. First, we have Laura Blythe Goodman. Olivia Carol Bonnet. Amanda Joy Britt. La Parish Brown. Molly Elizabeth Campbell. Jacqueline Michelle Colecchio. Matherly Grace Collins. David Lewington Crane. Clinton Paul Crumley. Rashandra Nicole Davidson. Jessica Danielle Deal. Allison Shea Dean. Andrea Lynn Evans. Corey Adam Everett. Race Brandon Finnegan. Brittany A. Fisher. Eleanor Dawn Gage. Sarah Elizabeth Gage. Catherine Elizabeth Greer. Duncan Christopher Hall. Caroline Harris. Carrington Jade Hawthorne. Logan James Heitzelman. Allison Buckner Hodge.
Woo!
Yay, Allison! Go, Allison!
Yay, Allison!
Yay, Allison!
Go, Allison!
Megan Ray Horkovy. Peyton Marie Hoyle. Emerson Grace Jackson. Alexander Konecki. Kathleen Ann Locke.
Go, Katie! Go, Katie!
Yay,
Go,
Yay,
go, go,
Katie!
Go, Katie!
Congrats.
Go, Katie!
Alyssa Kylene Long. Kira Elizabeth Maynor. There was a hand clap right over the end of her name. Elizabeth Ann Micah. Jennifer Lee Mann. Chloe Elizabeth Martindale.
Woo, go Chloe!
Jasper Elio Martinez. Gabrielle Elise Maynard Hawley.
Woohoo, Gabby!
Catherine Nicole McGuire. Robin Lee McLaughlin.
Yay, Robin! Go,
Robin!
Robin!
Regina Drakeford Meeks.
Regina!
Woo!
Go, girl!
Yay, Regina!
Regina! Samus!
Margaret Graham Mish. Rada Meyer. Jordan Ann McCune.
Go,
Yay,
Jordan!
Yay,
Jordan!
Jordan! Go,
Congrats,
go,
Jordan.
go, go! Yay!
Jennifer
I mean-
Miller.
Woo, Jen!
Abigail Elizabeth Moore.
Go, Abigail!
Odelis Marie Morales Sierra. Brittany Ann Myers. Kyle John Overbust.
Congratulations, Kyle.
Andrea Michelle Lee Phillips. Max Profit. Sakrita Marie Rawls. Susanna Maritza Salazar. Rebecca, there we go. Rebecca Suzanne Sanderson. Alden P. Schrader. Valjean R. Scott.
Yay, Valjean!
Yes.
Krista Janine Shepherd Shabazz.
Yay,
Woo,
Krista!
Krista!
Samantha Jade Sherlin.
Go, Samantha!
Yay, Samantha!
Woo! Congratulations.
Aviana Francis Simpson.
Yay,
Javiera, woo!
Congratulations.
Erin Denise Taragazi Simpson.
Period, Erin. Period.
Corey M. Small.
Go, Corey!
Rochelle Denise Stanley.
Yay, Rochelle!
Go, Dr. Stanley!
Superstar!
Stanley.
Victoria Rose Steelman.
Go, Victoria!
Karen Elizabeth Stokes. Lauren Nicole Thomas. Lee Elizabeth Wybell. Andrea Lauren Ward. Erin Gebbia Watson. Katarina Michelle Wibbins.
Yes, Katarina!
Aaron Thomas Witcher. Catherine Vasily Wolner.
Woo!
Andrea Nicole Wood.
Yay! Way to go, Andrea! Woo!
Kristen D. Word.
Yay,
Yay,
Kristen!
Sorry, lights went out. Beatrice Christine Ray.
Woo!
I'm gonna write this number down and keep calling.
What number?
Congratulations to you all.
Correct.
And we will have closing remarks from our director, Dr. Lisa
Send
O'Connor.
me a number saying, please call this number.
Thank you all for being here. I love hearing all the rowdy applause. That's just really cheers my soul. As you've heard from many people, this is a very challenging time you're entering the field. But I want to encourage you to be fearless. Don't let anyone make you underestimate the critical role libraries play in maintaining democracy, sustaining community, and increasing social justice. And I imagine in the early days of your career, as most of us do, you may have some sense of imposter syndrome at times. It's common in the early days of your career, but I promise you, you are ready. You're ready to defend intellectual freedom. You're ready to educate information literate citizens. You're ready to build communities that sustain our public life. You're ready to be a modern American hero. So grab your capes and tutus if you wish, and let's go make this world a better place together. Keep in touch with us as well. Come back. Go, but come back. We want to know what you're doing, what your job is. We want to brag on social media about that poster presentation you made or the promotion you got. So let us know how you're doing. As our chancellor always says, once a Spartan, always a Spartan, and that's particularly true here. Never forget that we're ready to help you as you matriculate through your career. We want to be here to support you, to write letters of reference, to give you counsel, whatever you need. So go do something great and come back and let us know about it. Congratulations, and we'll see you all in the breakout rooms. I think Professor Gura has a couple instructions before we go.